How's it going, you guys? Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Page One Power webinar. We're super excited to have all of you guys here with us today. My name is Ben Jacobson. We're going to be getting started here in just a few minutes. I wanted to make sure everyone can hear me. Let me know if you guys can hear me. Go ahead and just let me know in chat. As you guys also will notice, we do have a chat feature today. Just make sure that when you are typing in the chat, there's a little drop down that lets you choose all panelists and attendees. Just make sure you put that in there so everyone can see your question. Today we have a very special guest with us. His name is Venchito Tampon, and he is with the co-founder and head of marketing for SharpRocket. We're super excited to have him. He also is the, the marketing director and co-founder of SharpRocket. And they work with big brands and SEO agencies all around the world, providing link building as well as content marketing services. Also joining us from Page One Power today, we have Kyle Ochsner and Devin Bourdeaux. Kyle is our SEO specialist and Devin is our SEO client strategist. Today we're going to be talking scalable link building tactics. We all know that scalable link building is inherently time intensive, but super valuable with the overall health of your website. So today we're going to be, our guests are going to be discussing their thoughts and practices when it comes to scaling links. So without any further ado, we're going to pass it on to get started.
Hello.
Venchito, go ahead.
Hi. All right. Okay. Share with you my screen.
Yeah, we can turn that up. Oh, there we go. Here's
Are you guys seeing my slides?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, great. So today we're just talking about this idea of content scalable link building. But before that, let me just share with you that today, if you think about link building, it's all about creating content assets, promoting it for the sake of acquiring social shares and links. But the thing is, we always start with this idea of branding, that if ever we'll be creating some content, there must be some mindset of building a better brand awareness for a specific website. So all of the things that I'll be sharing are just are improvements to what we currently are experiencing in terms of link acquisition. So these are not basic methodologies. So you would be able to find out new things, new tactics and tips that you can apply to your own link building campaigns. Just sharing with you, as mentioned, I'm the co-founder and marketing director of SharpRocket. So we are a team of around 15, 20 link builders here in the Philippines. So most of the SEO agencies, in the US, UK, and other countries are outsourcing their link building projects to us, and as well as we are working with enterprise brands who wanted to scale their links, not only in terms of quantity but in terms of quality. So this idea of link building is all about not just creating content for the sake of rankings, but it's in essence, you want to build a better brand awareness for your website. And that would determine how your brand can scale your link building in the long run. Given that if you're just pursuing links manually, you may not be wasting your time and resources. But the thing is, it's far easier, it's far more effective if you can create content and actually earn links. So link earning is already overrated, but it's something that we need to understand in terms of link building. So whether you want your website to be a go-to brand, or you are a publisher, you're a SEO agency handling multiple clients, you have to think long-term in terms of branding. Okay, so let me go through some of the tips. So number one, link building, a scalable link building is what we call the content gap analysis in guest blogging. So if you're not familiar with guest blogging, it's basically writing articles and creating content for a specific website or blog that is related to your brand and very relevant to your niche. And in most cases, people think that guest blogging is dead, but I beg to disagree, given that it's not really dead. It's just that you really have to think of ways on how you can improve this common way of acquiring links, which is guest blogging. So how can you do content gap analysis? So normally we receive guest blogging pitches from generic bloggers and site owners wanting us to pick some of their topics that they want to contribute to our website or to our blog. And the thing with these generic email or outreach pitches is that they just spam us with every generic topic, random topics that they can think about. And the thing is that there's no real value proposition with what they actually pitch. So with content gap analysis, the thing is that you are actually sending topic ideas to a target guest blog owner or a publisher. And these topic ideas are not just random ideas or topics, but basically these are the topics that you think the guest blog prospect might benefit from. So in this case, content gap analysis is simply identifying keywords and topics that the competitors of your guest blog prospect are currently ranking, but your guest blog prospect isn't ranking yet. So the value proposition here is that you are helping your guest blog prospect to rank for certain keywords and topics. And the thing is that the moment this content started to rank in search engine results, given that it's already targeted to specific keyword or phrase, then it will be able to attract organic traffic as well as earn some links in the process. Okay, so these are just some examples of on identifying content gaps, and you can use Ahrefs Content Explorer to have this in play. So just simply use that tool. Okay, so the moment your guest post started to rank for a specific keyword, then it's not just a simple guest post that it will die sooner or later. The thing is, if it rank and it's evergreen on topics, then this guest post might not just help your guest blog to rank for their target keywords, but it will also help your brand to be more recognizable and memorable, given that you're also gaining new referral traffic from the guest post. So it's a very important thing to understand when you are doing guest blogging. So again, it's not just sending random topics, but you are spending a few minutes to identify some content gaps and keywords your guest blog prospect might benefit from. So again, that's our number one. That's our first scalable link building tactics. So if you are, if you think these tips or strategies are giving you some value, just give us some notes in the chat, and so I may be able to know. Okay, secondly, we have this thing called resource guides for linkable audience. And you normally see resource guides when you do broken link building, or what we call resource-based link building. And I like what Garrett French, the founder of Citation Labs, defined linkable audience. So in this case, he defined it as just a type of, or a group of people who belong to community that has that high level of academic and medical and even government interests. So these are basically a group of curators that have their own resource pages on a particular or on given nonprofit websites or any blogs. So basically, they have these resource pages that list down links and references on a particular topic. So in this case, you don't create random content format for them, but you are creating resource guides, because linkable audiences will only link to you if you have a specific resource guide that benefits their audience. So just to give you an example, these are just some of the these are just some of the linkable audiences. So we have teachers, caregivers, parents, senior citizens, and veterans, even workers in the nonprofit sector. So the thing with these audiences is that if you can create resource guides specifically for one or two of these audiences, then there is a high chance or guarantee that you may be able to acquire not only a few number of links, but a consistent number of links, as depending on how you promote the content. So there's already that kind of assessment of the linkability of your resource guides. Okay, just to give you an example, I just started an affiliate website called Help is Leaky. So what I did is I created resource guides specific for linkable audience. So on the left side, as you can see, it's a resource guide for parents wanting to know about how to get their kids sleep better. So on the right side, we have a resource guide about PTSD, basically for veterans and any people with disabilities. So it targeted 2 linkable audiences. So the thing is, even before I promote this type of content, I already knew that it has that potential to get links in the long run. Okay, so how can you do this? You can actually start with prospecting. Okay, so once you identify linkable audiences that you can target for a resource guide, and you created a resource guide that is very comprehensive and very informational, targeted to a linkable audience, the next thing that you can do is to find or discover link prospects. So you can use Citation Labs Link Prospector tool, and if you're not familiar with it, just type in Citation Labs Link Prospector, sign up to the platform, subscribe to their premium features. Then it basically gives you the ability to semi-automate prospecting. The reason it is semi-automate is that you still need to filter those link prospects based on relevance. Though Citation Labs will give you the most relevant link prospects, in essence, you still need some good eye for you to identify relevant relevant links pages. Okay, or you may also do it manually, and that's the thing that we are doing here at SharpRocket. So if we are creating, spreadsheets for resource guides, then by the way, I'll be sharing a link to this Google spreadsheet that we are using. It basically just it semi-automates link prospecting side for links pages. Okay, so you just need to input keywords, and on the GH or row or column, you'll be able to find the link going to the Google search results. So it semi-automates the entire process. Okay, now once you already have the link prospects, you need to collect additional link opportunities, and you can do that by simply checking other similar content assets that's already relevant to your resource guide. So with this is what we call reverse engineering from the link perspective, link building or SEO perspective. So you reverse engineer other similar content assets for additional link opportunities. You can use Ahrefs, Moz, and other link building tools for this. So if you're getting some value from this webinar, you can just input some of your thoughts. Okay, now once you already have the resource guide, and then you prospect for link opportunities, and then now you're ready to give some value to your resource curators. And one of the best value proposition is for you to be able to find broken links on the resource pages. Okay, so John Cooper of Point Black SEO or Hyperlinks Media created this LINKMINER tool, which basically helps you find find broken links for any defunct links on a links page or resource page. So the thing is, you'll be using this broken links as value proposition in your email outreach. So what you can do now is send them an email and tell them about their broken links. And so not only telling them about their broken links, but also suggesting some replacements, which include your resource page. Now, you need to make sure that you organize all this data in a spreadsheet. Okay? The thing with link building campaigns today is that they're very, they're very scattered in terms of data and information. So the only thing you can make sure that you all get things set up properly is for you to organize this in spreadsheet. You can use your own, outreach tools like BuzzStream and Pitchbacks. But if you want a less heavy on budget, then you can use Google Spreadsheets for this. Okay, again, you are suggesting or you are telling the resource curator about their broken links, and that's one of the value proposition which you can use in others. Basically, just telling them about their broken links and then pointing it out and helping them fix those links. Okay, now this is a very, very good thing to understand. In email outreach, the best thing to ask yourself is, why should I care? Why should they care? Because when we do email outreach, we only care about our links, but it's not the most effective way to do pitching. The most effective way in email outreach is to just ask this question: why should they care? And in resource page link building or broken link building, it's telling them the broken links, finding replacements for those. Okay, so these are just some of the links that you got using the second scalable link building tactic. So let me go to this third one, which is the source to content strategy. Okay, now you want your website or your page or anything on content on your website to be the go-to source when it comes to information and links and social shares. And the thing is, it semi-automates the entire process of link building, given that you are earning it and not just manually building it. So how can you do that? Okay, now, one of the things that you can do is for you to create content based on or targeted to some queries that gets natural links. Okay, specific examples are, statistics, templates, letters and proposals. So if you are, a normal person, then you are a publisher and you are a content creator, then you're looking for some references. So if I am a brand and wanted to get more brand awareness, I can create a content or curate content on statistics and facts or templates, letters and proposals, because these are topics that get mentioned and referenced and cited by content creators. And by the way, you can use Ahrefs for you to find, the number of search volume for this specific topics. Just customize it based on your niche. Okay, so the next thing you can do is to assess if the topic you choose has the number of referring domains based on the top ranking pages. So it basically shows you how many links you can actually potentially get from doing outreach and or promoting the content. Okay, now you can create a content based on the SOURCE-TO-CITE query that you choose. Okay. Now, when creating this type of content, you can actually get some of the information, data these websites. Now, in doing email outreach, one of the best things that we did is that if the blogger or the publisher or any target link prospect did not respond to our email pitch or request, what we normally do is to use Twitter for us to be able to engage with them and ask for their email address. And then from that, we transition the conversation from Twitter to email and send the unique value proposition using the email. So it's basically we just use Twitter for us to know if the email address is very personalized to the prospect. Okay, number 4 is we have a journalistic approach, basically reaching out to journalists and news writers and anyone in the publishing field. Now, the conventional way of doing this is using Harrow. If you're not familiar with Harrow, Harrow is a freemium tool where you can sign up, and basically it gives you daily requests from publishers, content creators, and journalists requesting for additional inputs for their stories, for their articles. So if you are a person who can provide some stories about a certain topic, then you'll be able to get mentioned and cited and even included in their roundups. Today, if you look at Harrow, you'll now see not just story requests but also roundup requests. Okay, now not only you can use Harrow, basically you can use Twitter. The thing with Twitter is that publishers and journalists often tweet about their requests for additional stories and inputs for their articles or content. So you can use the following queries: looking to speak to. So basically it gives you an idea that the journalist is looking for someone, okay, they can get some insights from. Looking to interview, a story or input request. And we also have, is there anyone expert? We're basically looking for someone, has this kind of expertise and subject matter content, and anyone they can pitch or they can interview for a story or coverage. So just add hashtag journal requests, and you can also use PR requests, whichever works. Basically, add the topics or niche to these queries for you to customize it based on your industry. Okay, so to semi-automate this, you can use IFTTT track journalist request applet. So if you're not familiar, simply just go to IFTTT.com, then sign up, log in, and then look for the track journalist request. So it's basically an applet wherein you can just connect and semi-automates this entire process. Input the keywords or phrases that I shared earlier. So if you're still getting some value from this webinar, just type in, your thoughts. Okay, let's go to the 5th scalable link building tactic, which is co-marketing. So co-marketing is essentially collaborating with influencers, personalities, authorities, and entities in your industry that already have that high and good standing in terms of branding, in terms of social following, in terms of authority. Basically, you have that already established brands. So if you're still starting out in the industry, then this is a good opportunity for you to connect with them, as you will be able to absorb their followers, their email subscribers as well, and anyone following their website or blog. So it's just basically, reaching out, collaborating with influencers. Okay, now you can start by looking for influencers, thought leaders, experts in your industry. For sure, if you're doing it offline, you know your networks, the people you're dealing business with, and the people you are engaging on a daily basis outside online. So get an inventory of that and check if they have their own blogs, they have their online presence, and look for these people, get insights from, basically reach out to them, ask some questions. Because the thing is that you need your content to be more comprehensive than other content assets. and reaching out to them, getting their insights, given that they have the domain expertise, will help you to add credibility and authority to your own content piece. So you can use this questions, you can use this their insights for your content that you can publish on your blog or for third-party content, which includes your guest posts. Okay, again, you can add them to your internal or external content. So this is a basic example of what I did. Is I simply reached out to a influencer who is interviewed on the blog leadx.org, which is a leadership authority blog. So I was writing for a specific guest blog, and so I wanted to ask him for some insights on additional insights. And so this particular woman gave me insights about Kanban and productivity tools. So basically, add their insights, her insights to my content, and boom, yeah, I got this credible content. So it's a win-win situation for both of us. The reason is that both of us got links. So even though I am the one who submitted it to the guest blog prospect, I need to make sure that I also give her credit for the insight. So by simply giving her a link back to her website. And so now it helped my guest post or third-party content to have that high chance of being approved by the publisher, given that I included someone who's already expert in the industry. Okay, so I also got a link. It's a win-win situation. So co-marketing helps you if you're still starting out. For small brands out there, if you use a one-man team, a group of SEO agency, with a few clients, then this may work really out for you. Okay, next is we have these job boards. For sure, businesses have their own hiring processes. There are businesses who are hiring 5, 10, multiple, job positions every day. And I've seen enterprise brands, for example, hiring, hundreds, even thousands of job positions, and they have their own job boards on their websites. You can actually use their job boards for you to be able to get some links. Okay, for this specific example, we have this startup tech website. It's a client of ours. So they have this job board. And so what we did is basically use the job board link or platform they have on the website and use that as a value proposition in reaching out to link curators. So there are resource pages and links pages specifically for job hunting, career websites. So, and especially if you are going local, then there are specific job board links pages for your city or town. So simply search those pages. Okay, you can use the queries: job search resources city, employment in URL resources city, job hunting resources city, in URL career city. Basically replace this city word, with your city. You can actually use this not just on a city-based level, but also on a country-based level. And now you offer the job board as an additional resource to their page. So simply, given that you're likely to get success from this type of outreach, given it's something that's very, very easy to do. Okay, now aim for contextualization, not just personalization. People nowadays, they always want to personalize things. They write their email pitches personalized for the first name, the website name, and so it's already being too much aggressive in terms of personalizing it. In fact, if you are overly personalizing your emails, then it's not really personalizing at all. You need to make sure that you are getting the needs and the context of your target prospect or recipient. So knowing their needs, matching it to yours, having the value proposition mixed up. Okay, 7 is we have this where to buy for e-commerce. Okay, so if you're an e-commerce site owner, okay, SEO agency handling multiple clients on the e-commerce side, then this one is for you. Okay, some examples of where to buy pages. So this is from AccuCheck. So they have this page about diabetes care products. So this is a page that gives you an idea or information about where to find their products. So it also gives links to their retailers. I'm not sure if it's their suppliers as well. So basically any partners that where you can get their products or buy their products. Another is this where to find transport options. So if you're in the Australian side, then there are transport options available. So these are resource pages specifically giving you information on which brands or which websites you can go to and purchase or get their transport service. Another is vendors list of college websites. So this is a very easy link building tactic where you search for college websites, middle school websites. They have their own pages specific for music stores, for example. So this is an example of a client of ours. Our client sells musical instruments, and these instruments are bass, violin, cello. So what we did is reach out to college websites, middle school websites that have their own music stores, and yeah, simply just if it is something that is related to our brand, if it's something that's really something that they cater to the products of our client, then we can pitch to them. Okay, basically know your current and potential partners. Okay, get an inventory, look for your business partners offline and online, and list it down. Make sure that you check if these partners, whether it's a supplier, retailer, manufacturer, check if they have their own websites. Okay, and then you can do it manually, you can semi-automate it, you can use any tools. You just need to make sure they have their own websites and check if they have their own dedicated pages for where to find pages. So that's the keyword, key phrase, where to find. Okay, you can also check your website's product categories just to make sure you have your you know your so if you are an SEO agency, you need to know your client basically. So what are the products they're selling, their product categories, and then list it down. You can also find where to buy pages using this queries, where to buy on retailers, dealers. Match it based on your needs. So if you're a manufacturer, normally you're looking for where to buy pages of retailers. Okay, so if you're a retailer, you're looking for where to buy pages of your manufacturer, supplier. So it contextualize it based on your needs. And so you can also use in URL links, Google search, advanced Google search operator in URL links for you to be able to find links pages specific for your product categories. You can also add the search query where to buy. Next is we have inverted broken link building. If you're doing broken link building, as I've said, it's basically telling people that they have broken links on their pages and suggesting some replacements. So the process of a conventional or normal way of doing broken link building is this. You find websites and pages or resource pages, and then from that you are checking if there are any broken links, and then match it out to your content, and then creating the content, promoting it. So let me just start with this so you can follow the strategy. Basically, you find broken pages you can create. You create. I like Ahrefs given that they have a feature for this. Content Explorer. Okay, use that and then search for the keyword. And they have this filter only broken, which shows you broken pages. Okay, now you might also check while doing prospecting and using LINKMINER to check broken links. You may find some links to be broken at the same time they have high referring domains. LINKMINER does this. Allows you to check, allows you to quickly see if a broken link has a good number of referring domains. In this case, it is the National Alliance on Mental Illness. It has high referring domains around 125. Okay, check the page linking domains. Okay, making sure that the dead page or broken page has some good, referring domains, so you won't waste time recreating it. You can also use Wayback Machine, archive.org, to check the original version of the content. Why do you need to do that? Basically, you want to know if you can actually recreate the content. So based on the resources that you have, do you have the capability? Do you have the information? Do you have the expertise? Because you don't just copy and paste the original content and then publish it on your blog or website. You want to make sure that you can recreate it in such a way that's more comprehensive, in such a way that's more informational in nature, or you can add some other content types like videos, audio, visuals, and any other type of content formats, just to make sure it's the most comprehensive resource guide on that specific topic. And then you can create an improved version of the broken content. So just make sure that you make it more comprehensive than other similar assets. And then from that, your first set of linkers would be the people who have linked to the original version of the broken content. Okay, so research or reverse engineer using Ahrefs. And you may also find links or resource pages to other similar content assets, just like what I've shared earlier. The idea of this is that given that you know how many referring domains there's a particular broken page got in the past or received in the past, then you already have an assessment how many potential number of links you can get from the content creation process down to the email promotion or outreach. Second to the last would be the podcasting. Okay, I just made this term up. I'm not sure if it's a coin term. Podcasting is a podcast. You've seen a lot of podcasts in any industry. Basically, you want to become a guest in podcast shows of any authorities and personalities they're already popular and already authoritative in your industry. Okay, find blogs hosting podcasts. You can use Speaker and other hosting or podcast directories. Okay, search for any blogs host podcasts. Okay, you may also prospect based on personality. So if you know someone who has a lot of podcast opportunities, he or she's getting some kind of popularity in terms of opportunities on podcasts, getting interviewed from any websites relevant to your industry, then you can use that as a search query. Find any podcast, their existing podcast. Okay, and the good thing is that the links that you'll be getting from this type of campaign is normally in the footnotes. Okay, so basically, podcast isn't just published on Spotify or another music platforms or audio platform. There are bloggers or podcast hosts who publish their podcast episodes on their own blogs, and then beneath that there are footnotes and transcripts. We can actually get links, and you don't have to ask them to give you links. They normally do that. Okay, last would be the link reclamation. So if you're not familiar with link reclamations, basically reaching out to content creators who have used your content assets, whether that's infographic, okay, whether it's a video, whether that's text, and ask them if they can actually link to the original source, which is you. Okay, one of the best thing that you can do is if you are an authority, subject matter expert, normally you are creating some coin terms. Basically, it's an industry term. You create it for yourself. You define it. You publish it, popularize it. For this specific example, we have skyscraper, which is published or popularized by Brian Dean of Backlinko. So if I am Brian Dean, I would normally, and he doesn't need to do this because he's already getting some links already organically. But if you have a coin term, okay, you created it, popularize it, you need to reclaim links. Okay, basically your content is being referenced and cited by content creators. Reach out to these people and ask for sources to links. Now, another link recommendation strategy is that you can actually check for any broken links of your competitors. The thing is that if a page remove a link of your competitor, and if you see that your blog or your brand or your page or your content is more relevant, and it will be a good suggestion or a placement for that broken link, then you'll be able to get a link from that page. Or any lost backlinks of your website. You gotta make sure you check your website. Links normally are getting lost nowadays for many reasons. Maybe the site owner just removed your link, or maybe they created a new page and does not include your link. So a lot of reasons why. So you need to make sure you check at least once in a while lost backlinks of your website and check if you can actually reclaim them. Okay, basically knowing the reason for lost backlinks, you can do this by using Wayback Machine, archive.org. So you can check what happened to your link. Is it actually being removed because your content is no longer relevant to the resource page, or your content is being replaced by another more relevant content? So you need to know the reason before you can actually reach out again. And you're not just reaching out again to the link curator and give the same type of content. You need to check if you have a more relevant page, a more relevant content asset, then reach out and suggest a more relevant page. And lastly, we have the ones, some latest tools that you can use. Okay, Link Builder, it's created by the Traffic Think Tank guys. I think by I'm not sure, by Unique Bunks. So Link Builder is a tool which helps you to semi-automate the content promotion process of a campaign. Basically, the idea is that if you have given external links to content creators, Link Builder is a plugin WordPress wherein it gives you the ability to create an email pitch based on the people you have linked from your content. MailTrack helps you to track emails if it's sent or opened. And Link Marker is a new tool, prospecting. I'll be sharing the link. The owner of this tool gave me permission. It's actually already live. It's similar to the Buzz Link Marker. I'm not sure with the BuzzStream. So BuzzStream Link Marker is just giving you the ability to switch from one page to another, or one website to another on the same window. So if you are filtering websites based on relevance and metrics, okay, Link Marker is a good tool. It's a Chrome extension tool you can use. Citation Labs, Link Prospector, if you're doing it, link building on a scalable basis, something that you can use. Brand mentions for link recommendation, and SEMrush, SEO writing assistant, making sure that you add some LSI keywords, phrases, which helps your content to rank higher for targeted keywords. And Norbert for finding email address of your link prospects. Okay, so there you have it. If you have any questions, feel free to send in the image in the chat window, and I'll be happy to answer them. Right? Okay, that's it, Kyle and Ben.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate you going into all those details. I wanted to pass it over to Kyle and Devin just to kind of follow up. And I know that they've been kind of going through and answering some of these questions in chat. So if there's any of those that you think maybe you want to expand on or kind of answer maybe a more in-depth over video, hop and do that now.
Sorry, looking through them right now.
Yeah. Let's answer the new one that just came through.
Which one's that? Oh, favorite most effective link building tactic. Do you want to lead?
My favorite link building, I mean, I guess favorite and effective are kind of two different things, but my favorite link building tactic would be just purely like actual resource link building. I think that is much harder to do than content or like brand mentions. And I think that it doesn't work for every client. So there's that additional like level of difficulty to it. So I just find that one my favorite because it's harder, and when you can get a good resource link, I feel like those stand the test of time. They generally stay up. Any user that's actually on a resource list is very specifically looking for that type of information. So if you have a good resource that can provide help or answer those questions, I think that's a much more big win, and they're actually going to click on your link versus having a link in an article that potentially might not be clicked on, or is going to be on an article that eventually gets pushed down into a site that just kind of goes into a big content pool. So yeah, I like resource links the most.
Yeah, and I mean, as far as most effective, it's gonna, I know everyone hates this answer, but it's gonna depend on your niche, like where you live in, or just the brand recognition. If you have good brand recognition, little things like, you know, like just if you're talked about it, if your brand or people within your company are talked about a lot in the news and stuff like that, you can get a lot of links that way pretty easily.
This is true.
But like outside of that, your best bet for effectiveness is probably just trying to find some sort of niche. Venchito highlighted a lot of them that are like tend to be more fruitful than others in one of his slides. And if you can kind of service those niches in a unique way and build out a piece of content that helps them, you can build links to those pretty easily. They tend to be more informative than anything. So that's probably the most effective way if you can't really, if like your service isn't enough or you're not being talked about on the regular, is you have to build out a good piece of content. It doesn't have to be like a guest blogging type of content, but like a guide or something of that sort.
Yes. See another one of these questions. What's a good way to build links to tools, like an online calculator, for example? Sadly, a lot of tools that websites have that used to be much more like unique or useful, Google has created a lot of those same tools. So the first thing I would do is just check to see if the tool you have can be found somewhere else. And additionally, I would look at those tools and see, are they getting or other tools from either competitors or even like Google or whatever. Well, not Google, but I would just look at other tools and see, are they actually getting backlinks themselves or people wanting to link to this? And then I would look into the tool and think, what's the purpose of the tool? Who does it help? Why are they using this? And start asking those kind of questions to try to think of, where could I even get a link to this tool placed?
Yeah, and I mean, to kind of expand on that, is just make sure it's not a tool too. Like if you're going to take time to build a tool, make sure it's not one that's done to death. Like see a lot of like loan calculators and stuff like that in the finance world. Like how are you going to stick out if you're just building another loan calculator? If you have something unique and you truly believe it brings value to that like other loan calculators do not have, then maybe, yeah, it would have to kind of just stand on its own and not be overshadowed by a crowded field, I guess is the best way. Because when you're pitching tools, they need to be like inherently useful to get links. Like how useful as the tool is going to be how you get those links.
Yeah. Want to do that one?
I'm just marking this one off. Which one?
That do follow.
Oh, so we have one here that says, should you focus on do follow links on all these tactics that were discussed? Yeah, I mean, do follow is always going to be better than no follow. I mean, there's obvious reasons to no follow. And I don't think a no follow link means the link is like garbage or not worth your time. But there is more inherent value to the do follows, at least from most, research that's been done on SEO and link building. There just seems to be more inherent like value to a do follow. So if you can get a do follow, by all means, go for it. Now, if you were going to try to do like just bio links via guest posting, you're not going to want those do follow because they're going to look like duplicate content after a while. But I'd also hope if you're going to go after a guest posting type thing, you're not only reaching for bio links. You need to be getting good like deep links to informative pages within the articles you're writing.
Yeah, I think the whole narrative around no follow links being bad is just kind of a waste of time in my opinion. I think that if you're building a link, it's a good one, and it doesn't necessarily need to like matter if it's do follow or no follow. Obviously, do follow is better, and that's what you should strive for. But if it's a no follow link, that doesn't mean the link's bad, and it's not like worth celebrating and worth being like stoked on. So yeah. Can you read that one?
Yeah, so we had another question that said, what method do you think would work best for a B2B company where educational content and influencers are far and few between? Believe our biggest challenge is that our audience is not a highly linkable audience. I mean, that's a tall ask, I guess. I mean, so the rough part here is that it's not a highly linkable audience, like you said. I guess the silver lining there is it might not take that many links to get to the point where you rank well if you highly optimize the content you're building and your website for the keywords you want to rank for. My best advice to you is just really, I mean, I would hope you know your niche very well and that to like really look into it, whether it's you're doing it for your own company or if you're doing it for a client, try to figure out what, if any, like this is kind of like the crux of all link building, like what isn't being serviced in your area of B2B, and try to like service it with like a fully fleshed out piece of content. B2B is honestly one of the hardest things to link build to, wouldn't you say? Like,
yeah, I mean, a lot of the B2B world is, I feel like, at least with my experience, a lot of it is done offline, or if it is online, it's not on websites or in like a structure that you'd be doing like link building on, to where kind of like what Kyle's saying is that really just like look into your field, really try to flesh out like who's in your industry, why are they in your industry, what are like questions that they have, what are ways that you can try to add, almost not forcing a B2C into it, but kind of trying to think of like, well, is any of this B2B information useful to B2C? And at the same time, given if your industry is so not link friendly, we'll say, you don't necessarily, kind of saying, it's not necessarily a quantity game, it's more of like a quality. And if it's inherently hard, chances are your competitors don't have very many backlinks either. So even getting a couple on a piece of content you create and internally linking and pointing to those, we'll say a product page, for instance, or service page, that's going to be much more valuable than not doing that, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, this has probably been talked about to death in all SEO articles, but like when it comes to link building, like you're pretty high up in the marketing funnel. Like I think you would call it like the awareness content. So it's all about making people aware of your content, because when asking for links, if it's too salesy, like too far down in that content funnel or the marketing funnel, it's going to look inherently like an advertisement, not like just like a cosigned via link. So trying to find, I would guess, like people that in the B2B world, whatever B2B world you're in, that are in like the research stage and like what they would be researching, and trying to make a piece of content around said research and hoping that there's some sites out there that are linking to that. But like Devin said, make sure that content is well optimized. It has internal links going to the pages you do want ranking well. Make sure those pages are well optimized. And then hopefully just a few links would really kind of boost your rankings. Because if someone is getting a lot of links and you're not, like looking at their backlinks and seeing what they're doing, they're most likely either doing something fishy or paying like for ads and stuff like that. So
Thanks. I mean, if you're in a field where it's just hard to build links, the reality is you're just not going to have as many links. So the expectation should be a little bit different. That, oh, for maybe this B2C client, they're getting a high number of links every month. Okay, well, for your B2B, the number is going to be much lower, and that since it's going to be inherently much harder, like you just have to have the expectation shifted, I guess. Yeah.
So yeah, this next one is there not a risk in cannibalizing your own website ranking if you create evergreen content for a guest post that you already have content for? Why not focus on creating/enhancing the content for your own website? Or are you suggesting link and potential traffic from a guest post outweighs the SEO benefit of direct traffic if you had created on your own blog?
I'd say both.
There's probably a fine line between walking that. You don't, like over here at Page One Power, right? We, not to pull the curtain back too much, like we kind of have two separate areas. We have what we call our resource or research link building team, and then our content team, guest posts, guest writing. But on the resource side of things, we do take very like authoritative guides and build out links to them. So you might have a guide on like, resources. I can't think of any off my top of my head, I'm sorry. But like say it's a guide for veterans, which is a very niche that a lot of veterans is pretty popular in link building. You write a pretty comprehensive one, and then you're looking more for pages that are saying like resources for vets, like, and then like getting just a link to that. I would say that's probably the most valuable link. I might be incorrect in saying that, but you don't really have to worry about cannibalizing rankings. It's a direct link. There are niches that are just harder, that is going to be hard to get a link even if you have a good guide. So it might be better to go write an article that's maybe a little like adjacent to what you do, but you can tie back a link into some informational part of your site. That then, maybe it's not directly competing for keywords with what you want to rank, but is.
And that also helps just from a branding aspect of like your company and like who you are. And I think that the most successful campaigns do both. Because I mean, if you have a well-known brand, that's just going to help you get more content opportunities, as well as pitching a guide to a complete stranger if they know who your company is and like you're well known and it's in a positive light, your ability to get that resource link just went up greatly.
Yeah, and sometimes guest posting or guest content, like, is an ease of use thing. It's like you said, if you don't have brand recognition, it's easier to get a like link as posing or coming to someone as a freelance writer that's passionate about certain topics, that just wants to write and like pad their portfolio and kind of pursue a passion, than being like, I'm X company and here's my guide. Because then even if it's informational, sometimes there's people that were like, okay, I want money because I'm doing you a favor. So to be honest, it's just it might depend on, your niche, the company, your name value, all sorts of things. But you probably just want to walk a fine line. Don't go all in on either side.
Yeah.
I know someone, Venchito, asked if the spreadsheet would be available. I don't know if you want to
Share that or not?
share that with them in the chat or not, but someone was asking about that. Right now, I don't have any more questions.
They're all answered.
Yeah, if anyone has any, feel free to put them in. Do you have anything you want to elaborate on?
I mean, I think in general, link building works for almost every site. I mean, I think there are nuances where it's just realistically not like where you should focus your SEO energy into, but in general, I think it works for most every site, but the expectations need to be shifted from like industry to industry. I think that I always go back to this, but the biggest thing you need to ask is, why would someone want to link to my website or my piece of content? And what about this is different or better than everyone else? Because oftentimes you'll see websites mimic other sites' content or guides, and it's the exact same. And if that is already listed on a site, there's literally no reason to add that one as well. So it's just about figuring out what can you do that's better or different to make it unique for users, because at the end of the day, people want something that's unique and is going to give them value, not something that's already been done.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the crux of this webinar was like, how do you make link building scalable, right? Like, how do we scale it up? And I would say the most important part to making something scalable is just consistency. Whatever you're going to do, you want to be consistent in it. You do like good research, I guess, for lack of a better word, before you go into it. Yes. Especially if you're a smaller company that doesn't have the manpower like a bigger agency would have. You don't want to waste your manpower on like a dead end, right? So just do really good research ahead of time, and then you're going to have to. It's going to take a few months to kind of get the ball rolling, get some links in there, and see results. Like, unfortunately, we're all kind of at the whim of Google, right? And so we have to wait for the bots to crawl, the SERPs to react, all sorts of that stuff. So, I mean, as far as maintaining scalability, I would just say make sure you're doing good research on what you want to start, creating, what you want to build to, the words you want to increase for, like, keywords you want to increase ranking, and just kind of stick to it, maintain structure, organization, and be consistent throughout the whole thing.
Awesome. And so I think we're just about running out of time, guys. I wanted to, first of all, thank all of you guys for participating and everyone for attending. I'm going to run a quick poll at the end here. Basically, this is just if you'd like to talk more with Page One Power or with Venchito from SharpRocket, just go ahead and click that. That way it kind of helps us know if you wanted to discuss anything further. So I'll go ahead and launch that there. Also, like I mentioned in the beginning, we are going to be recording this, so the recorded version of this will be up. We'll try to get that up for you guys here probably in the next day or two. And then that way, if you guys happen to miss any pieces of it or wanted to go over and repeat some of the information, that will be available for you guys as well. So without any other questions, it looks like we've pretty much cleared. Oh, we had one more question if you guys want to tackle that one real quick, and that'll wrap it up for us.
All right, if doing link building for clients, how do you recommend link building when the outcome can fluctuate so much? For example, if you spend 5 hours on link building a month, you could get 0 links attained one month and 5 another month. From a client perspective, clients want to see consistent output for their marketing spend. I think with any business, link building, not link building, there's seasonality. You have some months that are busy, some months that aren't. I think just creating that narrative and creating that realization that you are going to have slow months and busy months And the same thing with like even per day, like brick and mortar businesses, you have busy points and slow points. I think the same thing could be done with link building. The big thing, like Kyle was saying, if you're consistent, you will see links come in. I think the same thing carries over with this. 1 month you could get 5 links, 1 month you could get zero links, but if you're looking at the big picture and not at a month-to-month basis, it's going to even out over time and you'll have like a nice consistent average. So I mean, that's, to be really simple and like blunt, that's what I would look at, is you're not going to.
Yeah,
like
it's about informing your client. Like probably one of the hardest parts of like SEO in general is if you have a client that doesn't really know SEO, specifically link building. To
need
me,
realistic expectations.
Yeah, link building is kind of the last stop on the SEO train. Like everything else has to be kind of good before everything else has to be kind of good and in order before link building happens. Because if not, you're kind of just throwing stuff against the wall and trying to see what sticks. So just setting expectations to them that there are ups and downs, that they need to know that the one thing about link building is a good chunk of it's out of our hands, because I can't force anyone to put a link up. I can't force anyone to respond to me. And having, like Devin said, them look at like bigger quarterly pictures, but stuff like that, and seeing how it kind of evens out over a quarter, over a whole year, as opposed to like I didn't get links this month. And that's a tall task and it's a rough ask, but it's the reality of the situation.
If you're consistent in doing your work and putting like the research and finding good target sites, sending out good emails, like outreach, you will get links. You should get links every month. It could vary depending like month to month, like maybe there's holiday time, people aren't checking their emails as much and whatnot, but in general, Kyle was saying in one of the questions earlier, it's just being consistent, and I can't like agree with that more. You just need to be consistent and continue with it, and it's not going to be something that's like an overnight thing, and it's like a long-term game, and just like setting that expectation with your client and like getting them to understand that like this is just how it is. And yeah.
Cool. Well, awesome, guys. Again, thank you guys so much for coming out and helping us with this webinar. I appreciate all the attendees for joining us today. If you have any other questions or would like to talk with us further, we'll include a link to where to get in touch with us. And we'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks, guys.
Toodles.
Thanks for watching. If you'd like to learn more about our products or services, be sure to visit our website at pageonepower.com.